The comic book world can be intimidating. Sometimes you need to be pointed in the right direction. Sometimes you need a comic pro. So, you've seen the Flash TV show. You may wonder what the deal is with the introduction of the alternate universe referred to as Earth 2. Who is this Jay Garrick and why are there two Flashes? This is a very important part of the DC universe that can be very confusing. In this series, we will dive into every facet of the history of the DC multiverse. Get ready for part 4 of the history of the multiverse. Okay, it's 1985, and the crisis on Infinite Earths is in full swing. One by one, the worlds of the multiverse are disappearing into the ether. Supergirl is dead. The only person who can thwart the evil Anti-Monitor is, of course, Barry Allen, the Flash. Pushing his super speed to the ultimate limits, Barry reverses the action of the villain's enormous universe-ending machine. Sadly, he knows he has no other option. He pushes himself further than he knew possible and dissolves into pure energy. Just as the history of the multiple Earths begins with the Flash, they end together. So now the new history of the DC Universe is being rewritten. Instead of an older characters hailing from a second Earth, they all exist in the same universe. Jay Garrick did inspire Barry Allen, but is a historical figure from World War II, not a fictional character. Everything now starts over from scratch. DC relaunches their titles with new #1 issues, not their old numbering. We see a new version of Superman's origin. We see a Batman rebooted with Year 1 and Year 2. Everything finally makes sense, right? Well, no, not completely. Though the undertaking was brilliant and ambitious, it didn't solve everything. There were still problems with long-established characters and how they fit into the new surviving Earths. The Legion of Superheroes, for instance, lived in an alternate version of the 30th century, but writers didn't necessarily want to tie this to the new world's future. To solve this problem, in Superman #8, they revealed that a pocket universe was created to house the Legion, keeping them alive and allowing them to cross over with current characters. Not a parallel universe, a small oasis that preserved their parts of the multiverse. This allowed them to keep and create characters that couldn't exist in the one universe to rule them all. Like new Kryptonians, for instance. They couldn't exist in New Earth because Superman was the only survivor of Krypton. The biggest and most glaring problem with the new timeline is the reboot of Hawkman. Carter Hall, the Golden Age Hawkman, and Katar Hol, the Silver Age Hawkman, both existed in the new timeline, but their origin stories didn't really jive. See, Carter was in the 40s JSA, now part of New Earth. But when the great Julius Schwartz reintroduced the little-known character in The Brave and the Bold #34 in 1961, it's revealed that Carter was actually an alien cop from planet Thanagar named Katar Hol, who assumed a human identity in the form of Carter Hall, but much later. That didn't work because pre-61 Hawkman lived on Earth 2, and new Hawkman was on Earth 1, so they can't be the same person. How can they both exist logically? The continuity problems with telling this story have now laid the seeds for the unraveling of all the hard work and effort that Crisis on Infinite Earths did. It will take 10 years, but these errors eventually will become untenable roadblocks for writers. The character is rebooted over and over to explain them, but they just keep going further down the rabbit hole. The new timeline is in trouble, and the countdown to 0 hour has begun. That's it for this round, fanboys and girls, but there will be more to come. Tune in next time for part 5. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter @GeekPowVideos, and don't forget to support your local comic shops and retailers. I'm Skip Harvey, and this has been Comic Pro.